Okay, it's Saturday, May 28th. I'm back in Oslo, Norway. I'm going to make another little series or channel in my YouTube about my time and trip. Not only my trip, but all my time in Norway and how I got here, how I became a citizen, got a job, because I don't think I could cover it in one video. But a lot of people ask me, with regards to Norway, why did you come to Norway? And I always tell them, I was working in New York, Delaware, Northeast U.S., a long time ago for, BlackRock, a big financial firm, and the hours were crazy. And I always knew, I lived in Sweden in 1999 for 1 year. I had like 1 year in Sweden long back, so I knew kind of what Scandinavia was. It wasn't like a totally foreign concept to me. At that time, I wanted to make money, so I came back to the U.S., but now, I was looking kind of for a balanced life that, I would work some hours, get paid okay, and have time off, and then some protection, job protection from the government and unions. So I came here, basically for a balanced life. And this was back in 2013. And I didn't come spontaneously. I actually planned this since 2010. Made 2 or 3 visits, and started already networking for a job 3 years in advance, calling on companies. And I got some for interviews, but they weren't ready to pull the trigger. And I found out what all the websites were. So I spent actually 3 years, 2.5, 3 years doing groundwork, gathering intel, as one would say, and making a network here, just getting into Facebook groups and trying to figure out what skills were in demand, and then taking courses. I took a course in Informatica. It's a business intelligence tool. I took some courses in programming, Perl, and this kind of thing. Mostly doing what is called extract, transform, and load. Kind of getting into the data and analytics, because that was within my reach and that was very high in demand at the time. So I found the website called Finn, which was their version of LinkedIn, and I put my resume on there. And to my surprise, I got a call from a company that was interested in setting up outsourcing in India, and that was something I was doing in BlackRock, working with people in India, and setting up the team and giving them routines to do. And then they were using this Perl programming language as well. And they gave me a call. We had an interview on the phone, and then I didn't hear anything from them. And they just, I got an email saying, just call us whenever you're in Norway and we'll meet. And I did, and I didn't see them. I talked to a bunch of other recruiters as well. Every time I would come and visit, I would meet with recruiters. So that was like the pre-work, the work I did before coming. And then it's very windy here, so I don't know what kind of sound quality you're going to get. I got a new phone, Samsung Galaxy S22 Plus. So that's it's very exciting. But let me get to somewhere where it's more quiet and less windy. I'm right here on the main road. I'm trying to get down by the seaside. They have a nice, I just want to talk about the pre-work I did, how I prepared myself before coming here, because it wasn't so spontaneous like a lot of people think, or even I kind of made it out to sound like that, to sound like some good luck story. It was actually a very well thought out plan, and I did a lot of research and really tried to understand everything, and even started Norwegian lessons, online. I had downloaded a Pimsleur course, and was just using some different, there were some different websites that would give you some words, and watching some YouTubes. There was this I forgot, her name is Karen, and she gives Norwegian lessons, and I learned the colors and some basic conversation. So it wasn't like I came here cold. And so I finally quit my job the day the bonus was paid. It was mid-February. And, I put in the 2 weeks. I tell everyone the story that I just walked off. I really didn't. I did the 2 weeks, but they actually hired me as a consultant, for another 2 months. Because, I left pretty suddenly and they were pretty short-staffed. So that money helped out. But I stayed at a friend's house, and I knew this friend for a while. He'd been living here And so he rented me his downstairs room, which had an independent bathroom, and I just did it. I was there for 3 months, 12 days and 10 hours, job hunting. And I started Norwegian lessons as soon as I arrived officially. But that's, I don't know, it's like the story is all so interconnected. So yeah, I get to Norway, right? So I did all this preparation. Now I get to Norway. So what did I do the first day I get here? You go to the police station and you register as a skilled job seeker, because I didn't have a job in hand. So that gives you 6 months instead of 3 months. It's just basically an extended tourist visa. You're not getting any social care or anything like that, any medical care. They just know that you're here and that you show them your resume and that you're serious and you got a place to live. I think I even had to show them a bank balance. I have not enough money to finance myself. And so you get 6 months to find a job. And believe me, it sucks. But I'll tell you why that sucked. So you get here, and yeah, you got to get yourself registered. And I got signed up at Folk University. It's like a community college, and they give you you want the official Norwegian lessons, because that's what's used to apply for permanent residency and citizenship in the future. You can't just take any of them. They have to be like certified by the government, and they're a little bit more expensive. And those you pay out of pocket if you're a skilled job seeker. You don't get those for free. It's like refugees and spouses get the free Norwegian classes. And then if you're working in a company that's transferred here, they'll pay for it. And later on, the company that picked me up ended up picking up the cost of these courses and even reimbursed me for the ones I took before. So yeah, I started right away in Norwegian class. And then I was filling out job applications every day. And then at night, I would look for networking events. And then I would go to the gym very early in the morning. That you wanted a routine so you don't go crazy, because I just quit a really good job, a really good Wall Street job. And then I'm coming to the most expensive country in the world, unemployed. And then I'm living in my friend's house, and he had a wife and kids. And so, I was helping with babysitting too. So I was basically a nanny, watching the kids and all this in exchange for some food. So what did I do? I started the mornings with going to the gym, and I found a gym in the city center. Cost a little bit more money, but it was for networking. What kind of people in the city center wake up early and go to the gym? Usually it's the business owners, it's the CEOs, it's the top salesmen, people with a lot of self-discipline. So I made some contacts there, made some friends. The morning crowd in the gym is usually a more regular crowd, more social crowd. They all know each other. People are in a better mood in the mornings. When you go in the afternoon after work, people are in a hurry. They got a lot on their minds. It's less crowded too. So I would go to the gym. I would come home. I would eat breakfast. And then I would start doing the job applications. And so I would try to do 3 to 5 every day. And you have to write. You can't just send a CV out. You have to write it for that job specifically, like that's your dream job. And over the course, it took me 3 months, 12 days, and 10 hours before I got an offer. And I did 100, and there's some irony to this story. And I got to tell you also why this sucked. But I'll get to the suck part later. So there's so you got to write every job application like that's your dream job. And so I did 150 resumes. And I got 5 interviews and 2 job offers. And why did this suck? I mean, it sounds like it was pretty fast. 3 months to get a job in a country where you barely know the language and don't know anybody. But there were so many holidays and so much agony. I can't even describe the emotions, like waiting for people to call you, and you're trying to, sell yourself off to people. You're almost like, you're a stranger. Anyone you meet, you kind of get into this thing like, can this person help me find a job? You just can't chill. But I really didn't want to go back to America and go back to that kind of work culture where that work is your whole life and they can fire you for anything. So, yeah, it was hard. And the irony is, the job offer the first job offer I got was with a startup company. And they really couldn't make up their mind. The offer actually wasn't solid. I got a verbal offer, but it was never like formalized or put in my hand. They kept going back and forth, like the board has to talk about it, you know, and it was like the CEO of the company really wasn't the decision maker. It was this guy who was, you know, the main investor, and he was just going on vacation, disappearing, and there was a lot of holidays, people taking vacation. So I was job hunting from February, March, April, and May. You know, let's see, yeah. I got the job offer in May. I started in February, and I got it in late May. Yeah, around 3 months or so. May or June, I think I got the offer. And there was all this time you had to wait for people to get back to you because of the vacations. There's all these Easter holidays and national holiday and everything that happens in these months. But it's also the best job hunting season is right after the New Year's. So that was a sucky part, you know, just waiting on people. But the most ironic thing was none of the jobs that I applied to called me, except for that one. There was that, that startup firm that was making some polymer, and I was supposed to be like a project manager, business development manager there. The job that called me was the company I spoke to back in the US where I had the phone interview, and they said, let us know when you're in Norway. And I had sent them a couple emails, I'm in Norway, and they got back to me. And they just invited me for lunch during this job hunting time, during this 3 months. I didn't think anything of it. And I just met them for lunch and we talked, and they didn't say it was an interview. And then like 2.5 weeks later, or a month later, they said, can you be in our office in an hour? And it was on the other side of Oslo. And I looked at the bus schedules, you know, because taxis here are impossibly expensive. And it was just like, no way. But he said, you got to be here because the big boss is here. And he's only going to be here for an hour. And let's catch him at lunch. So I ended up taking a taxi across town. And I mean, I was like, at that stage already looking to go back to the US. You know, none of these other jobs were coming through. And, you know, none of these interviews that I had 5 interviews altogether. You know, and I was really trying to call and get a follow-up, but they just don't call you back. They don't even give you a rejection letter. That was really agonizing. Like in the US, at least you get a rejection. So, yeah, this is the Lysaker Brygge. This is a really beautiful place. It's in western Oslo. It's a nice fjord here. So, I got that job, I didn't even apply really. They found my resume on that Finn a year before I even came to Norway, and I'd just been having casual meetings with them. And then when I went there and met the boss, we started talking, and then they took me to the room to do a whiteboard and asked me how, you know, the systems was set up in the Perl language I was using in the database. And it turned out this was like a credit card fraud prevention system. It was doing like Aladdin, what we were doing, a lot of volume. Everything was written in Perl. Everything was running on these jobs and schedulers. And so it was really and they wrote me and the boss comes on a motorcycle like a day later with an offer letter, you know, the kind that you can take to immigration. And I was able to get the job. Yeah, I was able to apply for the visa, for the what they call the skilled worker visa. And this visa allows you, you know, I think this was a 1 year job initially as a project manager. And it got me that skilled worker visa. So I went from skilled job seeker to skilled worker. But skilled worker visa can be applied towards permanent residency. You just have to get it 3 years in a row. So it's renewed every year. So I think that was I think it was a one. And then, when I was in that job, a month later, the department manager, this guy Andreas, he quit. He got a job at Volkswagen in their IT department. And so they offered me a promotion to be the department manager. And that was a permanent job, a permanent contract. So I was able to, you know, extend my, or I could renew, because that job went permanent after 6 months. You know, you get a 6-month trial period, and then the job becomes permanent. So I was able to get like a skilled, I went from skilled worker, I was still a skilled worker visa. And then after 3 years, you get the permanent residency. And you have to be really careful with your travel. You can't be like traveling outside of the European Union too much, or Schengen zone. They really look at the stamps and that, if otherwise it just delays everything. So during that time, I was taking Norwegian lessons at night. They had this citizenship course, and I guess I'll make another video talking more in detail about that. I just wanted this to be like an overview of how I became a Norwegian citizen. So I worked 3 years in this company, and then got permanent residency. That was a big one, because now you can stay in Norway. It's like the green card. You can get a job at McDonald's. It doesn't have to be a skilled job, and you can at least stay here and work towards citizenship. And then citizenship was like another 5 years, because I traveled too much. I owed them about a year, extra year. So it took me eight years. I think it was actually 9 months. But then COVID came and created a lot of delays. I took 2 exams. I took a citizenship exam. It was a multiple choice, 50 questions or something. It wasn't too bad. It was like multiple, process of elimination. But the test that was hard for me, I really studied, was the oral exam. Now, as a skilled worker, you only have to take the oral exam. You don't have to take the written exam, but that might have changed now. I think they made the rules a little bit harder. But I think also the time requirement for skilled workers is only 6 years, and then other kind of immigrants have to do 8 years. So I had to study for this oral exam and pass. I believe they raised the standard. It was A2 and now it's B1, but I passed at B1. But you have to have a conversation with some teachers and then your fellow student. They have you 2 people at a time testing, and you got to have a conversation. So that guy was struggling. He was a truck driver from Poland, and so I was helping him out because I hired tutors. I threw a lot of money at this. When you throw money at a problem, it seems to go away. So I hired this Karensa. She's another YouTube teacher, Norwegian teacher. I hired her. She hired me a teacher who was actually one of the test givers. So this guy used to give the Norwegian tests. So I hired him to be my teacher and to really prepare me for conversational Norwegian. And so we used to talk a lot, and then I would also practice in the kitchen at work. I would go to work and practice there and practice with my Norwegian colleagues, make them sit down with me. And I studied like hell for like at least 6 months, maybe a year even, because it was hard to get the dates. So you just keep studying, and keep preparing yourself, because it was the COVID time came and the dates were getting a little bit hard to get, to get the test date. But I passed it. I remember it was March, right before the big lockdown, before they went really full lockdown. It was like just days before that. I was able to get in there and pass this exam. And then you get the result. And then, you have to, get this appointment at the police station to submit your application for citizenship and give your fingerprints. That took a long time to get, and that got delayed because of COVID. And then you finally got that. And then they told me the decision, there was some good news here, that the decision would take like up to a year with all the delays. But then they also was in the news that they had an automated system to evaluate your, they evaluate your citizenship application with artificial intelligence. And so I got a message on my phone like 2 months later that I was a citizen, that it was like congratulations, and it was like PDF form. And then you wait 1 week after this decision, then you can make an appointment for a passport, because everything will be permutated in the police system. The police issue the passports here. And so I was able to get my red passport. So that's kind of like, my Norwegian story in about 20 minutes. And I guess I could talk about the details in more detail later. But, if you want to come here and work and, live this dream, as we say, you get a good job and you get health care and you get plenty of time off, and it's a culture very much focused on fitness and nutrition. You can be a vegan here, and you'll see like these buff dudes, they're vegan. Things happen fast here. They adapt new technologies very quickly. Work is sane. It's you almost get depressed because there's nothing to be angry about except the weather. The weather, let me warn you, winter weather here really sucks. You really need to have something to do. But that's another topic, talking about the winter. But yeah, this is the short story of how I became a Norwegian citizen. And I guess while I'm here in Norway, I'll make videos about Norway, and when I get back to Ukraine, I'll talk about my life there. But yeah, I used to work in an office like this. It's a lot of bright in the summer. Summers here are unbelievable. Winters here are also unbelievable, but in another way. You know, yeah. Anyway, yeah, y'all take care, and let me know what you think.